Can money buy happiness? Can money buy you happiness? Most say no, right? Yes, most say no. It can buy us things, but time and health, for example, aren't for sale. So stop deluding ourselves and just be happy. But what if it can? What if money can buy happiness? You want to be happy, right? Well, today we'll answer that forbidden question and find out if money and happiness can go together. And how you answer this will make or break your financial future. Hi, my name is James Callahan, and if you're anything like me, you've been told for your whole life that money can't buy happiness. No way, no how. And it's actually immoral to think that it can. Why? Because money is evil. That's what the Bible says, right? Well, sort of. It says the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil in 1 Timothy 6. And as one old-time friend of mine always likes to remind me, there's more about money in that book than heaven and hell combined.
The point is, ladies and gentlemen, that greed, for lack of a better word, is good.
We've been lectured, trained, programmed, scolded, and guilted into believing that money can't buy happiness. It's been drilled into our heads and our culture. And we've learned the shame of wanting more than just enough. But what is just enough? And who puts someone in charge of telling you what's just enough for you? Back in 2010, Daniel Kahneman and Angus Deaton published a study measuring money and happiness and claimed that people do tend to feel happier the more money they make, up to a point. And that point is around $75,000 a year. And after that, happiness levels off, they said. It's either that or Warren Buffett is the happiest man in history since Solomon. They said that our emotional well-being and how we evaluated our lives doesn't increase significantly beyond anything made over $75,000. But they admitted that if some made more, or a lot more, they'd have more casual feelings about money and happiness. Their study made some people happy and some people sad. And the researchers that it made sad, well, they did another study because that's what researchers do. A 2018 study from Purdue University used a much wider data group and claimed the ideal income point is actually higher at $95,000 for life satisfaction, but closer to $60,000 to $75,000 for emotional well-being. But here's the kick in the pants. They claim that when people earn more than $105,000, their levels of happiness actually decreased. Yes, you heard that right. Make too much money and you get punished. Here's the interesting part. Conveniently, the average annual household income in the United States is right around their number of ideal happiness. The median income in the U.S. is $63,179, or right where the optimal emotional well-being number is, according to that study, paid for and backed by public policy researchers. Coincidence? No, probably not. And this is how important and potentially dark studies like this really are. This magical $75,000 number has become the new programming we receive from the money can't buy happiness crowd. Public policy, tax policy, testimony before Congress, political rhetoric, and yes, almost every high school business class and most of what passes as economics in college and universities tell us that true happiness is found at the $75,000 average, not more. Do you know what else they don't tell you? They don't tell you to tap the like button. Please do. It really helps. Now here's something this money and happiness story did do to us, but we may have missed it. And that is, we have a choice. We have a choice to do what we would like to do, and often get paid to do it. Now, there's no guarantee you'll make Beyonce and Jay-Z money. Only God makes that kind of money. But that's not why you work with homeless, three-legged, underserved dogs, is it? Do you know that in advancement offices at colleges and universities, That's the fancy name they give to fundraising. They know exactly how much they can expect from each graduating class based on the majors chosen by each graduating class. They look at each class year and use your major to plan the potential revenue alumni will contribute in their lifetime. Did you know that? Well, they know that. They know that if half of your graduating class are art history majors, numbers will be down. But if they're STEM majors, they know numbers will probably be up. Why do they know this? Because lifetime income is a known quantity. They don't tell you that when you're choosing your major, do they? And your advisor doesn't tell you your money story, the money story of your major. And that may be a big part of the problem. So you choose early childhood education because you love children. Well, your average median annual income will be around $39,000. And a 30-year career will net you $1.17 million over that career. But if you choose a STEM major, your average lifetime earnings will be almost twice as much. And the top paying majors will earn more than $3.4 million more than the lowest earning majors. Your advisor may or may not have known these things, but that's by willful ignorance. They know exactly how much they make and can make in their career. So why don't they tell you how much you can make in your career? And it really sets up an uncomfortable moralizing about how much certain vocations are paid. But if you become a kindergarten teacher in, say, downstate Illinois, and dream of becoming a millionaire, you better have a second or a third side hustle. And that's what they should have told you. But you work because you love what you're doing. I get it, Mother Teresa. You're special. It's just that when billionaires start lecturing us about money and happiness, I don't trust them. And their romantic sentiments about money just aren't real. It seems to turn them into counselors and sages, offering all the rest of us poor the advice that they wish they had known before becoming very, very rich. And their romantic sentiments about money just aren't real. It turns them into counselors and sages, and most of us listen to them. Why? Because they're rich. Here's an example. Warren Buffett, the Oracle of Omaha, said plainly he was really happy back when he was poor and not worth the $84.6 billion he is worth today. He said, if you have $100,000 and you're an unhappy person and you think $1 million is going to make you happy, it's not going to happen. You will not be way happier if you double your net worth. So basically having twice as much doesn't make us twice as happy. Got it. And if we're not happy making $100,000, then we probably won't be happy making $1 million. Maybe. But Uncle Warren, you're not my priest or counselor, and you're still in the market to make money because that's what makes you happy. At least Bill Gates was honest. Not long ago, he admitted, you don't need $1 billion to be happy, but it certainly doesn't hurt. In a Reddit Q&A, Gates was asked, do you think being a billionaire has made you a happier person than if you were just a middle-class person? And he answered, yes, I do. I don't have to think about healthcare costs or college costs. Being free from worrying about financial things is a real blessing. He went on to say that if healthcare costs and educational costs were lower, potentially more of us could be happy. But as things are today, being a billionaire is pretty important. Oh, and this gets us to something really big that's happening among the world's ultra-rich, using their money to change the world to their vision of a better world. Everything from funding their own political campaigns like Meg Whitman and Michael Bloomberg to influencing public policy like George Soros and, yes, Michael Bloomberg again. So here's a new take on the adage about money and happiness. It can. It can make you happy. There. Said it. We're done. That was easy. That magical $75,000 number, the holy grail of happiness in the U.S. today, isn't the final word. Another study, this one out of the Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania, claims our well-being and happiness rise with the amount of money we make, even beyond $75,000. Do you want to be $75,000 happy? Or do you want to be $175,000 happy? There might be a difference. They suggested that money gives us choices, and choices, well, that's one of the major components in how we measure our own happiness. Researchers had more than 33,000 people ages 18 to 65 use an app that prompted them to check their emotions throughout the day with questions like, how do you feel right now? And overall, how satisfied are you with your life? The data was collected over 7 years, and the results were that all forms of well-being continued to rise with income across most income levels, and it did not plateau at $75,000 a year. Still not sure about that relationship between money and happiness? Here's a test. Try it. Give some away. Charity, philanthropy, naming rights to a toilet stall in the bathroom at your alma mater. Believe me, if you make an offer, if you suggest that, they'll take your money. Generosity is one of the strongest challenges to the relationship of money and happiness in our lives. You see, the suspicion of the Money Can't Buy You Happiness Club is that it sounds like greed. Not just wanting more, but wanting what others have. The zero-sum game of taking it from someone else so that you can have it and they can't have it. Well, that's greed. But it might also be a form of greed, jealousy, or just you're a bad person if you hate those who have things that you don't have just because they have them and you don't have them. Or maybe that would just mean we're really selfish. Yeah, that's probably what it means. Hey, and even that phrase, the filthy rich, who came up with that? You know it. The Money Can't Buy You Happiness Club did. Do you see now how easy it is to get into the psychology of money? So test yourself. Give some of it away. Give some of your money away and see how it feels. But why would anyone want to give away something they worked so hard for, that they saved and sacrificed to accumulate? Why would they just want to give it away without getting anything in return? Because even when we give to charities, we're not just giving it away. There are always strings attached. We just feel bad about paying attention to the strings that are attached. The exchange of value in giving away money to someone or some cause adds value to our life, a value that exceeds the cost of what it is we're giving away to us. It adds to the story of who we are, or the story of who we really want to be or be seen to be. Our donation, our gift, our pledge is the cost of becoming part of that story. Whether it's shown on a t-shirt or a tote bag, a bumper sticker that shows you save the whales, or you're the whale of a philanthropist that puts your family's name on a brand new building. We give away money, the cost, to gain something we value even more, a better me. And it makes us feel happy. Here's a little game I started a few years ago that is always fun and challenging. You may enjoy it. I set aside $5, $10, $20, or $50, depending on how much I have, and I put it aside, put it in my wallet, put it in the console of my car, and the very next person who asks me for money, for whatever reason, wherever I am, I give them that money that I'd set aside. When I tell people this, I sometimes get the response, but what if they buy alcohol or cigarettes or drugs with it? And I respond, that's not up to me. And I don't think I can control how others spend the money I give them. They're not for sale, so I don't try to manipulate or control their lives through money. That usually shuts up doubters. This brings us to the heart of the money and happiness question. What the relationship of the two means to us and the story we want to tell about ourselves. It's about the difference between cost and value. Here's a really helpful illustration I learned from an Australian business and marketing superstar named Bernadette Jiwa. And it explains the emotional reasoning all of us experience in every monetary transaction or action in our lives. Her book, The Fortune Cookie Principle, poses a really obvious distinction and uses fortune cookies to do it. What is the cost of a fortune cookie? It's pennies, if that. And who really likes fortune cookies anyway? I have a confession to make. I actually enjoy the taste. Yeah, I actually like fortune cookies a lot. The intrinsic value of a fortune cookie is irrelevant. It's the perceived value that really matters to us. It's the random, anonymous, yet somehow personalized wisdom, advice, or predictions we are surprised by, and sharing it around the table after a meal together. That's the value of fortune cookies, and restaurants know that. Fortune cookies. So, are you happy? Obviously, money is not the only reason anyone's happy, but almost universally, those without money say that the lack of money is what makes them unhappy. Yes, relationships, love, security are all significant factors in our emotional well-being and our measure of happiness. So here are 3 ways to overcome our money can't buy happiness bias that we face every day. First, practice doing something with money that actually improves your life. Invest in an online course. Get your certification in SEO or Adobe, or learn to quilt. And after you've spent time and money learning how to quilt a quilt, give it away. Second, practice do-gooding and make it a game. That's the almost universal advice from psychologists and behavioral economists. If you give someone $5 and ask them to spend it on themselves, it makes no improvement in their happiness. But if you give them the same $5 and ask them to spend it on someone else, almost 100% of the time they report that made them happier. And third, spend your money on experiences that involve or include others, family, friends, neighbors, and do something together instead of upgrading your wristwatch. An adventure is more formidable, more memorable than just an upgrade of another thing that we own. Give one of those, give all 3 of those a try, and let others know how it feels. You'll start conversations about the relationship of money and happiness that will blow your mind. And theirs too. Why? Because in the fight between money and happiness, there's an alternative to the either or. And thank you for being part of the Do-Over Show. And please do tap the like button and subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. I'm so glad you found me and I found you. Thank you. Fortune cookies.